Hello, friends, and welcome. Welcome back to familiar faces. It's really great to see you, those joining in person as well as online on YouTube. We are happy to have you with us. Just a little bit about Elmhurst Community Lifestyle Center for those who are new. Our goal is to nurture the physical, the mental, and the spiritual needs of our community. So we want you to know that we are here. We have food fests every year. We have cooking classes. We bring speakers on board from different fields, medical fields, different specialists. And today we're happy to have Dr. Alva with us and his team. A little bit about Dr. Alva. Dr. Manuel Alva is a board-certified gastroenterologist by the American Board of Internal Medicine and a practitioner of lifestyle medicine. He is the vice president of the Adelante Community Health Center, which is a lifestyle counseling clinic in Berwyn, Illinois. He is the son of God, husband of Esther, who is a board-certified infectious disease physician with a master in public health and lifestyle medicine specialist. And she's also his right hand from what I've seen. She's a great help. Now, Dr. Alva's ministry and what he does is donations-based. So we have these little books. You'll find them at the entrance, at the table in the back, on the literature table. It's a cookbook. It's called Of These Ye May Freely Eat, and it's a whole food plant-based cookbook with really yummy recipes. My mom cooks a ton from here. Cheeses, sauces, you name it. So if you want to grab one, it's donations-based. Most of the other literature is free that you can grab at the end. Now, another quick announcement. If you'd like to know about future events, we have some cards at the entrance you can fill out with your name and email, and we can add you to our mailing list for future speakers and events as well. Now, before we continue, I'd like to ask Pastor John to come up front, if he could, for a quick word of prayer, and then we'll dive into the presentation.
Since, as you know, this is a Seventh-day Adventist church, it is a Christian church, and before we do anything, we ask God to be with us. So let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this beautiful day that you're giving us. Even it is not as sunny as we would expect, but we are alive, we are breathing, we are here, and that's a gift from you, Lord. I'm also thankful that Dr. Alva and his team is here with us, and that we are going to learn some things. And I pray that you would give us strength that we can implement those things for the betterment of our health. Because we believe also that when Christ died on the cross, he died to redeem the spirit, soul, and the body. And I pray, Lord, that we would take care of our bodies, that we would be healthy, that we would be joyful, and moving on in these difficult times that we are living. Thank you for this opportunity, and I pray for every person here, for their spiritual well-being, for their physical health, and for their material wealth. Thank you. In the name of Christ, amen.
Thank you. I would like to invite Dr. Alva to join me up front. We're going to have a quick presentation by Dr. Alva. He's going to have some interesting information to share with us before diving into the presentation of the recipes. We have Chef Xavier with us that will follow. And stay tuned till the end. For those watching online, you can submit your questions throughout this presentation on YouTube, and we'll hopefully get the questions at the end. We'll have a Q&A session. All right, enjoy.
Very good. Thank you. Well, good morning. It's a great pleasure for us to be with you and to review a few things that are useful, especially now, 2021. We're living with this virus, 2019, COVID 2019. But the principles and practices we're going to be talking about can be implemented easily, just with a decision. Your power of choice has to be exercised to start implementing the counsels we're going to mention that are not good only to prevent COVID-19. They happen to be very good, excellent for reversal of many common diseases, including diseases that are very hard to treat and are already on multiple medications. It's a gradual, patient process, but it's possible to revert most chronic degenerative diseases, including those who are of the gastrointestinal tract, such as ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, reflux disease, Barrett's esophagus, which is a precancerous condition of the esophagus, colon polyps, colon cancer, fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, and all the diseases that affect the liver, chronic pancreatitis. The list is long and long, and there's other conditions that are more common than the ones I mentioned, such as heart disease, cardiovascular diseases, which are still the main killer of people in America and the world. And those are associated with the common killers: diabetes, high blood pressure, elevated levels of cholesterol. All of those can be stopped and reverted with patient application of the principles we're going to mention. So, the talk today, it says defeating COVID-19, boosting our immune system, right? All of us want to do that. At the same time that we're boosting our immune systems, we're cleaning our arteries from cholesterol and deposits of calcium. At the same time, we're improving the effectiveness of insulin and reverting diabetes. So let's start here. It says boosting our immune system. Well, this is talking about the white blood cells. We have an army inside of us. And such as the Army has the Marines and as the armed forces, I should say, have the Marines and the Navy and the foot soldiers, there's different divisions within the white blood cells. They have different departments, they have the reconnaissance team that identifies pathogens. They don't do anything, they don't fight, they don't destroy, but they identify those things that are foreign, microbes, viruses, cancer cells, and they alert the other sections of the immune system that will actually do something about it. They all work together, unless we have a disease of the white blood cells in which they don't work together, or we give our system too much of a single ingredient, like sugar, for example, which we won't get if we eat a natural fruit. We get the right amount of sugar in the right amount of fiber that will help distribute that sugar, the sugar's absorption into our system. But when we use an ingredient added to a food, like pure sugar, then we are altering the function of the white blood cells. People have calculated that we may have 1 trillion. This number here in America is 1 trillion, right? In some of the countries, English speaking, this is 1,000 billion. But anyway, we have a lot of white blood cells. That's the idea. And they are patrolling our blood vessels. They are in our tissues. There's a small amount of white blood cells in our muscle tissue, underneath the skin, in the lining of the gastrointestinal tract. Actually, the lining of our gastrointestinal tract is probably the site where a lot of white blood cells are being produced. You have the bone marrow, right? The bone marrow is the chief producer of red blood cells, white blood cells, these other little cells, tiny cells called platelets, which have to do with our clotting. Thank God for platelets. They'll stop us from bleeding. But when we're sick, these platelets actually form plugs with other proteins in our blood to block passage of blood in our hearts. We get heart attacks. They block the passage of blood in our brains. We get strokes. So the blood is just a flowing organ made mostly of water, and I hope that you drink water. We're going to speak a little more about drinking more water to maintain our blood flowing without stopping. So it's a good idea to drink water. That's the best blood thinner, if you want to say it that way, that will maintain our blood from flowing. So we have to train these white blood cells. We have to maintain the blood flowing. These white blood cells that are in our tissues sometimes go a little crazy, and they start attacking those organs in which they are present. If you have white blood cells in the liver, and they are just checking the liver to see that everything is okay, that there are no cancer cells, they may find viruses or toxins or an excess of oxidized fat. If you like to drink sport beverage, for example, or if you like to drink soda, which, most of you that are in this class, you're seeking for health. I know that most of you probably do not drink these things. They are prepared with this sugar component called high fructose corn syrup. And you know that many stores now have banned sales of high fructose corn syrup containing products. But there are only a few. It's still legal in this country to put this as an ingredient of breads, cookies, pastas, beverages, peanut butter. You have to read the ingredients. Some salty tasting foods contain high fructose corn syrup, which is a sugar. They do it to balance out the amount of salt. If it's too salty, you probably won't eat that package of French fries. But if they add a little high fructose corn syrup, our taste buds feel this less salty. And actually, our taste buds feel the combination of salt and sugar at the same time, and our brain lights up. Well, certain areas of our brain light up. And you feel, wow, this is wonderful. I want some more. There's a commercial, right? It says that we dare you to eat only one of these potato chips. Because when you do that, you just keep on doing it. Your brain says, okay, this is good, keep doing it. So white blood cells get stupefied, they get fooled, and they don't work well. These white blood cells are patrolling, checking the liver, and they see this oxidized fat made from this high fructose corn syrup. Interesting. This is a sugar that, because it's an excess of this material coming into our body, our liver is the first one that checks anything that comes from the digestive tract. If we eat something, all flows to the liver. The liver has the function of sorting good things, bad things. And if it's an excess of something like this high fructose corn syrup, the liver takes the responsibility of taking this in because it's too much sugar for the whole body. And then, because there's too much, it transforms this sugar into triglycerides, a fat. So sugar becomes fat when there's an excess of this product that we don't get it from natural foods. If you eat an apple, a watermelon, and I think the people that put this display here, this is all real food, by the way, and real flowers. Amazing. When you put any natural product in your body, you don't get high fructose corn syrup that is concentrated by the industry. Oh, you will say, but fructose, that sounds like a sugar of the fruits, right? It sounds natural. Well, the sugar of the fruits, like that watermelon over there, is called sucrose. It's a marriage, it's a bond between a molecule of fructose, yes, and a molecule of glucose. They're bonded together. And when they're bonded like this, it's a family, right? It's not called fructose anymore or glucose anymore, it's called sucrose, the sugar of the fruits. We consume a fruit. The fiber contained in every fruit regulates the release of this sugar into the lumen of the intestine, where this sugar is picked up by some proteins that capture this. They have an enzyme, which is a scissor, that cuts the bond between fructose and sucrose. And then we have a free fructose and a free sucrose. The sucrose goes to a receptor, a door, that opens up especially for this glucose, and the glucose gets inside the intestinal cell. The fructose that was just produced, it's rapidly converted into glucose just before it enters the cell. There's another enzyme that moves have you seen people that graduate, that they are moved, what is that called? The tassel. Thank you very much. The tassels move from one side to the other, right? Well, the same thing. To convert fructose into glucose, the enzyme just moves the tassel. It's just a little chemical arm that is moved and is now glucose. So it uses the same door and enters the system. Wonderful. Unless, of course, you eat a tablespoon of sugar. And then the system doesn't work well because you do not have the fiber that regulates the giving of the sucrose into the intestinal cells. When you just get a glass of lemon juice and they pour sugar into it, there's no fiber there. The sugar gets into your intestines. The intestines break rapidly this into glucose and fructose. And because there's so much of this, the fructose gets easy entrance into our body. The fructose does not need a door or a receptor to enter our system. It enters without you noticing it. Now, if you drink a beverage which only contains fructose, what happens? All of that sugar contained therein enters your system without a receptor, without measure, without checking it in. It's like a porous border, right? Everybody gets in. Boom. And then the liver receives all this fructose, and the liver knows what to do. Transforms that into triglycerides. So you get a fatty liver by drinking sugary containing fluids. And if you make the mistake of drinking something like beer, which contains alcohol, which is actually like a sugar, alcohol does a double damage to your intestinal cells first, and also to your liver, which is trying to detoxify. This alcohol is a terrible substance. It's going to damage the blood vessels. It's going to damage the brain, the heart. So the liver says, can't do that. Starts metabolizing, breaking down that alcohol. The problem is that the first product that the liver makes after removing alcohol is called acetaldehyde. And that's even more toxic to your nervous system. So there's some other enzymes in your nervous tissue that will break that down. That's why people get a little dizzy with a little alcohol, but some of them metabolize it faster and they seem to be okay. They don't get drunk by drinking a couple of beers because their systems are clearing that out as fast as possible. But the damage to the liver continues. You get fatty liver by drinking alcohol or by drinking sugary drinks. It's exactly the same type of damage. The thing with alcohol is that damages your brain and your muscle fibers of your heart too. So that's an extra layer of damage. So sugary drinks, alcohol damage your liver. They make your liver full of fat. Now, if you have a good diet, besides all the sugar drinkings you're eating, you have a 4 in 5 chance of not having liver damage. Only 1 person out of 5 that has fatty liver will go on to develop further liver disease and cirrhosis. But that's another theme for another time. So we can do a lot of training on white blood cells not to destroy our organs and to actually fight cancer cells and to fight microbes, viruses, and bacteria, COVID-19, SARS, flu viruses, cold viruses, rhinoviruses, every virus that we know. There's several subdivisions. We saw on the previous slide that I just jumped, the phagocytes are the Army's foot soldiers. They are the ones that eat bacteria or large cells. They just engulf them and digest them inside of their inner parts. Lymphocytes destroy virus-infected cells, target cancer cells, and produce antibodies. And they are the ones that will facilitate the function of the ones that eat the big particles. Well, when we're sick, we feel sick, right? When we have a virus, COVID-19, the flu, we have fever, we have chills. Even when we get the vaccine, we can get the same symptoms for a day or so without being really sick, infected, just because our immune system is mounting a response. When the immune system mounts a response, we get fever, we get chills, because blood gets distributed to the bone marrow to produce more white blood cells, or to the intestines. Some people that get this viral syndrome get a little diarrhea because their intestines start producing a high number of white blood cells. So every organ system participates in that. And then it's easy to prevent disease, infectious diseases, by washing your hands. You know all this, 20 to 30 seconds, you sing happy birthday twice. This lady is doing what it says there not to do, right? Don't touch your face. Now these masks, if you're not used to a mask, you'll be trying to accommodate don't touch your mask. Just put it there, make sure it's sealed perfectly on the morning when you put it in, if you're going to be with people. When you are not with people, you can take your mask off. It's just a prevention of you passing the disease on to others, much more than you preventing the disease from others. Actually, there's a number of diseases. The Asian countries have shown us, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we get to the masks, that covering the face when you have a sore in your lip, right? A cold sore is called commonly. You know that those are mostly caused by herpes viruses. Herpes viruses can be spit out literally when you talk. And if the other person is too close to you and has an open mouth or is talking as you talk, you will get it too. If you drink from the same cup or eat the same foods together, you may also contract a cold sore. But if your immune system works well, you won't get recurrent cold sores. We get recurrent cold sores because of all the things that we're going to mention following this. Don't touch your face. Cough or sneeze into your sleeve, right? That's the value of a mask. Sometimes people just sneeze all of a sudden. You probably had that experience. We're in an allergy season, and you're doing something, and all of a sudden you just sneeze. You couldn't contain. You didn't know it was coming. So this is the most simple and effective way to prevent spread of viruses. Not so much to acquire the virus, but to prevent the shedding out of a virus that can be in my nostrils. I don't feel sick. I'm vaccinated against COVID, so I'm not going to get it probably. So I wear a mask not to prevent myself from getting sick, but to prevent shedding of viruses that may follow my nose, because I'm seeing patients in and out, many people during the day. So this prevents the spread of viruses. The Asian countries have proven this for many years. Their flu levels got down after SARS in 2001 because every flu season they just put a mask. And they don't usually just do this for virus. If they have a cold sore, if they didn't shave that morning, if they didn't have time to put makeup, if it's too smoky out there, they just put a mask. It's the culture. Nobody gets upset because it's an infringement of private decisions, etc. But it's a very effective thing in preventing spread of the disease. So implementing social distancing, keeping a distance of 6 feet with people that are not in your household. And the question is, how can we strengthen our immune system or our whole body systems? This talk is not only for the immune system, it works for everything, but we kind of taking the immune system as an example of an organ system that can be improved. Well, it says here, what does it say? Fiber. Fiber. It says eat more fiber. So people go to the grocery store, to the pharmacy, and they buy a can of fiber. You've probably seen the cans of fiber. Metamucil, Citrusel, Consul, blah, 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 right? All of those, they help. Yes, they help move your bowels. They actually help reducing your cholesterol in your blood. You know that your liver is trying to excrete all kinds of toxins in this fluid called bile. Bile is like the urine from the liver. Kidneys produce urine to excrete substances that are soluble in water. We drink water to help our kidneys excrete all those substances. And now, what is bile? Bile is the means of excretion of fatty, greasy substances. You know that grease and water do not mix, right? Restaurants have garbage disposal for everything else, but one special for grease and fat. And there's a different disposal company that comes and picks up their grease. It's different. So our liver does the excretion of fats from our bodies. And as we know, there's a lot of fat, and fat usually is sticky and gets embedded with sticky poisons that are in the environment that we breathe. There's escape fumes from our car, and we're there working. We're absorbing all these fatty substances through our lungs. They go into our bloodstream. Our liver picks those up because they're greasy. So our liver has to dump all this in our bile. Bile is the liquid that is going to finally help us get rid of all these substances. So how do we help our liver? Yeah, we can drink water. Bile is also made of water, but water and fat do not mix. So fiber. Why? Because as the bile leaves the liver, it goes to the small intestine and has to travel the whole length of the small intestine, more or less, for about 12 feet. And in the process, if you don't have enough fiber in your diet, this fat gets reabsorbed in your small intestine, in the latter parts of the small intestine. It's called the ileum. Gets reabsorbed and goes back to your liver. That's a natural recirculation. The body uses that capacity to not lose bile salts and help the digestion of fats. But it also works against us because it may reabsorb fat. So you're trying to put fat out of your body, and you're drinking more water to see if that helps. But if you don't have enough fiber, And these products, these fiber products, help a little bit. But it would be better, infinitely better, that if everything we eat contains fiber. If everything we eat contains fiber, that is a plant product. It comes from plants, from vegetables. It comes from whole vegetables, not refined vegetables. The two biggest mistakes that we make as industries and as society is to get whole foods and we process them in two different ways. We give part of that to the animals as animal feed, wheat, corn, soy, to fatten the animals that we're going to eat. Those animals have no fiber. You have heard about muscle fiber. That is not the fiber we're talking about. This is not vegetable fiber. It's not going to do anything for us. The animals we eat are fed with this type of fiber. And then we get the other part and we refine, we put them through a process of removing the fiber, like to make white flour, to make pasta, cookies, white breads, right? Instead of getting the whole plant, everything in the plant and nothing but the whole plant. These are eggplants, right? It's very hard to process or refine this, but you could prepare it, boil it. You could actually eat it raw if you wash it well, if it's organic, or you can put it in the oven with some other things and you have a delicious platter. I'm not a cook, so I'm not going to delve too much into that. So fiber. Eat all types of whole foods that are from the vegetable kingdom, and you get enough fiber. Very good. So, how does that help our immune system? Well, it cleans all the garbage out, and our immune system will be working better. How does it help diabetes? This is the mainstay for diabetes treatment. You eat a whole foods, plant-based diet, and your diabetes will be reversed. You just stop eating everything else. You just eat a whole foods, plant-based diet. If you're brave enough, if you're serious enough about getting rid of your diabetes, that's what you do. Yeah, you want to do it the slow way, you can do that too. Because sometimes we're not ready. Our bacteria in our guts is not ready to start eating a whole foods, plant-based diet. Our flora, our intestinal flora, our bacteriome is not ready. We're going to be producing lots of gas. Many of you have tried eating more cabbage, for example, you get gas. So you just throw the cabbage away because it's gassy. Yeah, your bacteria, which are very helpful to your immune system. Actually, that's probably the part of our body. I'm saying our body, and it's not even ours, right? It's borrowed. We have friends living in us, and they outnumber us. For every cell in our body, we probably have 2 or 3 bacteria on our gut. And we're counting all the cells, hair, skin, muscle, eyes. Every cell in our body is outnumbered by the number of bacteria we have in our gut. And bacteria divide very fast. You get a single bacteria that in an hour will divide and make 2. And in another hour, those 2 will make another 2. And in a day, you can get a good million bacteria. And in 2 or 3 days, you're just full of bacteria. That's why it's important to have the right kind of bacteria. Many people go and, break the piggy bank, go to the store and buy probiotics. That's one way of doing it, but it's not the most effective because we don't know how much are we using. Sometimes we read, this has 1 billion bacteria per 5 cc's per teaspoon, so it must be good, right? Really? We don't know that. Most of those are destroyed by our acid in the stomach, and some of them pass through and populate our small intestine. But it is maybe 1 or 2 types of bacteria. And it is that if we have a wide diversity of bacteria, the more diverse our bacterial population, the better. How do we figure that? I mean, we're just learning about this. Are we going to get probiotics from Canada, from this, from there, and just going to put them in our bodies? No. It's an easier way. You get fiber. You get these prebiotics, before the bacteria. This is actually good fodder, good food for your bacteria. The apple with all its peel, whole wheat. Different types of nuts. Be careful with the nuts. You should eat more nuts than what fits in the palm of your hand every day. Otherwise, you get a little too much fat, especially if you have heart disease. You can have whole wheat pasta, actually. And you can have leaves. The leaves are better as prebiotics. Listen to me. Leaves are better as prebiotics if you boil them. Okay? If you boil them, you steam them. If you eat them raw, and if you're not ready, you're going to get a lot of gas. So be careful with that. So fiber is contained in a whole foods plant-based diet. Carrots. You go, carrots, they're full of dirt, right? You have to wash them well. That's all right. Actually, the best prebiotic, and I'm just going to jump from here to the next slides, but I need this concept to be understood. The best prebiotic, if you want a good flora in your intestines, don't go and buy bacteria probiotics. Don't do it. Make sure that your diet contains two elements, roots and leaves. In other words, things that grow in the ground or underground. So we have to go down, right, to go up. And you eat these products boiled, baked. Don't eat them raw yet. You just rehashing your intestines, your microbes in your intestines. So the best thing is just give them the prime matter, the prime substance, which they're going to eat and grow. You do have good bacteria in your bowels right now. Problem is that we may have a lot of bad bacteria too. But in order to select them, we don't need to take antibiotics, which is one way of doing it. Take antibiotics, you kill a lot of bacteria, and then you take probiotics to fill your guts with good bacteria. It sounds rational, it sounds reasonable, but it doesn't work that way because this system is so complex. It's better to drink water and eat boiled roots and vegetables. You can make a soup with carrots, onions, garlic, potato, sweet potato, and use the leaves, the cabbage, the spinach, and use things that are sitting on the ground too, like squashes and pumpkins. You boil all this. Sounds delicious, right? I mean, they all have their flavor. You don't need to add much. You don't need to add salt even if you don't want to. And if you have the blessing of having an immersion blender, you can blend all this and make a paste, and you can eat this for a week. You will revert your diabetes. You will rehash your intestinal bacteria. You will feel infinitely better. Your constipation is going to go away. Your reflux disease is going to go away. This is actually the best way to treat people with ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, because it's mushy, it's not going to cause obstruction, and it's going to build up your good microbes. It's just a blessing. The curse, right? The curse becomes a blessing. Remember that God told Adam and Eve? God told Adam, actually, not Eve, because Adam was responsible for bringing the bread. And he says, well, it's not going to be that easy anymore that you go out and just pick fruits from the trees. Easy, just pull, eat. Now you're going to have to work for your food. And it's going to be food from the ground, fruit from the dust, because you're dust and you go back to dust. Well, that sounds like a curse, but it's actually a blessing for our condition right now. It's direct dust made into food from the roots and the leaves, and that is going to build up our bacterium, our population of good bacteria in our gut. So, fiber. I cannot stress this more, and that's why we have the cooking class. Chef Xavier is going to bring a platter here that has replaced eggs completely. And you say, eggs are supposed to be good, right? No. They have protein, yes. You can bring a child from Africa or India, a place where they're really cachectic, malnourished. You can bring this kid and give him an egg every day. Eggs are really easy to cook, right? One of the first things that I learned how to cook in my life was an egg, a hard-boiled egg, and then a fried egg. Just crack it and, it's there. You give a kid one egg a day and just a little porridge, and the kid will gain weight. I mean, rapidly. Why? Because an egg is a power plant of protein and hormones. Roosters don't put eggs, right? Hens are the ones that are responsible for egg production. So eggs are ladies and they have hormones. So those hormones go into the egg. The egg is one single cell, but it will transform into a chicken in 21 days. Amazing. So don't eat the chicken that is contained in the egg. It's very powerful. If you have a tendency to prostate cancer, to breast cancer, to ovarian cancer, people have family histories. I have a family history of colon cancer. My mother had colon cancer and uterine cancer also. So I should have become a plant eater, whole food, plant-based eater when I learned that. It took me a little while because, we're human and we kind of trial and error and kind of stubborn sometimes and kind of fall into old habits, but it's possible to, every day is a new day that God gives us. Every day is a new day. We have 10 minutes? Okay, very good. So, these are good vegetables, good fiber. They will prevent COVID, they will prevent diseases. And we have fruits, berries, and the roots, right? You have a number of roots here that have become very popular during this type of viral infections. Onions, garlics, excellent. Best antibiotic in the world, garlic. I mean, your breath will, yeah, okay. You have reflux, boil them, okay? Boil them, okay. And don't eat too much of it. Do not do too much of a good thing. Immune enhancers are present in raw vegetables that you're going to eat 3 to 4 weeks after you rehash your immune system. They're not going to give you the gas or the problems that they did before. Be careful with the nuts, as we mentioned before. Be careful with the oils, right? We like to use oil. Perhaps never, it's good for the skin. But you can put a little drizzle on your salad, raw. Do not use to cook as much as possible, okay? Of course, when you're moving away from old habits to new habits, you're going to use some of this. Olive oil, okay. Anyway, omega-3, these are good fats for our immune system and for our nervous system. They're contained on flaxseed and chia seeds. They have become very popular. Green soybeans, called edamame. You can buy edamame and just boil them, put them in the microwave, open them up, eat, okay? Very good source of protein. You don't have to envy protein from eggs or dairy products or meats. Common question, where am I going to get my protein if I become a whole foods plant-based eater? Ask the gorilla, ask the elephant, ask the blue whale. They are all vegetarian, all right? And they're big guys. Okay, so spinach contains a lot of omega-3s, so do chickpeas also. Don't fall into these temptations. Of course, they work against our immune system. High fats, animal foods, they increase our weight. They make our circulation of blood harder. Sweets, they are against our immune system. The activity of our immune system decreases 60%, or levels of sugar are high if we use sugary drinks. For the next 5 hours, we can be prey of viral infections. We can be in very bad situation metabolically. So this should be eliminated, no questions about it. And there's also other things, we like to talk about New Start, nutrition. This is what we talked about. E, exercise. W, water. S, sunlight. T, temperance. Temperance means avoiding everything that is injurious to us. Alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, a very common toxin out there, right? A is air, R is rest, and T is trusting God, right? So we see people exercising here. That liberates toxins from our bodies, moves away, facilitates the excretion from toxic substances in our kidneys, in our liver. Breathing, exercising, in the sunlight, open air. 3 things you cover by going out, half an hour every day, biking, walking. Walking is a good exercise. If you walk underneath trees, if you go to a forest preserve, you get all the thousands of substances that are flying. They are volatile in the air. You breathe all this stuff that the trees are producing for you. They enhance your immune system. They make your blood flow easier. Amazing how everything works, how God created us. This is not the product of evolution. God created us in an environment. He first prepared the environment before He put us in. And He prepared the plants, the food that we had to eat well before we appeared on this planet. And the planet was full of water before the 7 days of creation. It was already created. God is going to tell us one day, when did He create water? It's amazing. It makes everything flow easier. It cleans us up. It refreshes us. If you ingest water, and water will prevent flu pandemics. You bathe every day, you drink water every day, your immune system will work. Maybe you get the flu or something, or the COVID, but it's going to be milder. If we drink enough water, if we bathe every day, and we apply, if we get sick, we apply treatments called hydrotherapy. And I have to jump here, it's called fomentations. I have to jump because you can find all this information in the internet, I don't know if we could advance this. I'm going to try to move in. Don't apply fomentations if you have bleeding, if you're diabetic, if you cannot feel well. Don't get too complicated. If you want to get a good hydrotherapy treatment, go to your shower, open it up in warm, You don't need to be really hot. Just warm. Count 30 seconds. Change it to cold. Not too cold, like the process of pasteurization for milk. Change it from 70 degrees hot to 30 degrees cold or 20 degrees cold. And it's just in and out, and the bacteria go, oh, come on, we cannot grow with these changing conditions. But that activates our circulation. This change of temperature, right? From warm to cold, it will make our blood flow. You see, our blood is full of red blood cells, and they have to freely move. They move slowly when we don't drink water. They move slowly when we have toxins in our system, when we eat the wrong diet, animal products, sugary products. And they flow easier with water and a whole foods, plant-based diet. So the secret of health is actually how we circulate the blood, how blood and oxygen get to every organ in our system. Sunshine kills germs, increases white blood cells, strengthens the skin, increases our vitamin D. So it's something good to obtain sun every day. The best solar protector, by the way. You can buy your skin protectors for cancer, etc. But green leaves have beta-carotene deposits in our skin if we eat enough every day, and that'll protect us. That's why we should wear masks, because nobody knows when the next person is going to sneeze, or even when you're going to sneeze. Protection is good. I don't think we see this anymore, right? Somebody sneezing in the presence of other people. Abstain from alcohol, tobacco, caffeine. They all mess up your circulation. They prevent your blood from flowing into your brain, flowing into your intestines. All of this, alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine, will rob circulation from your intestines. The site where you have this good bacteria, this garden that you want to keep your friends warm and toasty. So alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine disrupt the bacterium in your body. You can be taking probiotics, but if you drink them, if you use coffee, you're spending money on coffee and probiotics. You're not deriving any real benefit. So abstain from all products that are injurious. Alcohol has killed more people during the pandemic than anything else. People have more time. Alcohol was labeled something good. Liquor stores were deemed essential. So that's what we're seeing, people going back into habits such as cigarette smoking that was decreasing before, and using more medications, tranquilizers. Yeah, I don't use tranquilizers. I tell people, use natural products. There's valerian, there's orange blossom, and there's God, that if He keeps you awake at night, you can talk to Him. He's going to tell you what to do. He's going to tell you how to solve your problems. He's going to point you to Scripture that you can open up, and you can talk to Him. Don't be discouraged or anxious if you're asleep, if you cannot sleep at night, and thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? I have to work, I have to do this and that, and I cannot sleep. Worrying about that is going to cause more insomnia. So start talking to God. Says, God, why did you wake me up? Okay, He likes that. He likes questions like that. All right, you haven't talked to me in a long time, so let's get acquainted again. The best thing, the best coach that we can get is to walk with God every day. That's what we call the last, trusting God, the best medication. God is going to help us understand our wives, our kids, our husbands. He's going to help us work together. It's going to be a process. This doesn't fix from, one day to the next. God has given us a pandemic to have more time so we can talk to Him, so we can talk to our loved ones, so we can increase our endorphins by just touching each other in the family, by just being together. God gives us everything we need. He is our maker and He is our recreator. So let's take this opportunity of the pandemic that we jumped to that. I bought this, by the way, right? It says that you shouldn't be passing it out without paying. Come to me, says God, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens. Do we carry heavy burdens? Yeah, sometimes I look at faces, I don't know how heavy is your burden. You look at me and I think, he must have a burden this light. We don't know. Sometimes we ourselves don't know how heavy our burden is. But God wants us to give us rest. He's the only one that can give us rest. And rest is the best anti-stress medicine. By talking to Him and being with Him, we can really rest. That is all. We're going to answer questions at the end of the presentation. Now we're going to move towards our cooking demonstration. I don't know if you have any urgent questions right now. that we should address? If not, there's time at the end of the presentation for bringing this in. So, in synthesis, let's just recapitulate. New start, right? Nutrition. What is nutrition? What is the best nutrition? Whole food, plant-based diet, right? If we're biblical, Genesis 1:29, right? God gave them from every fruit that yield seed, and then when they sinned, He tells Adam, now you're going to eat from the plants of the earth. So that's just a direct command from God. And then He gave another command later on that you could, because the earth is going to be destroyed by a flood, and you are not going to have good crops for a while. Give you permission to eat these clean animals. And we took liberty and license to clean animals. So every animal, right? No, God gave permission to eat some kinds of animals and only certain parts of those animals. Oh, because this is clean, I can eat the rump, the tail. No. The tongue. No. God gave certain parameters, and just for a while. And people got used to that. When Jesus Christ came to this earth as God made man 2,000 years ago, He taught people to actually move away from the regular diet that they were having. He tried to move them into fish. That's why we think, fish is healthy, right? It used to be healthy. When Jesus Christ fed the multitude with barley loaves and fish, this was wild fish. There were no fish hatcheries back then. They were not fed artificially with manure coming from chicken coops above where the lakes of fish are teeming. As fish are farmed nowadays. We don't know what they were eating really. It's rare to have fish from the wild. And if it comes from the wild, unfortunately, it contains high levels of mercury and lead, and petroleum distillates are all dissolved into the water of the oceans. So they are not healthy anymore. That's what the book of Hosea says in the Bible, that because of the evil increase in the world. Hosea chapter 4. The Bible mentions that the evil increasing in the world will cause starts with the beasts of the earth first, will get affected, followed by the fowl of the air, and even the fish in the waters will get bad, God says. In that order. And we have science have told us first, no red meats, no processed meats. Okay. Oh, chicken's not good either. Okay. And maybe fish should be limited, right? I mean, this is backed by science directly. So it's just better to try to go back to the Eden. The door is closed. There's no more Garden of Eden. But there's still the plants that God told us to eat. And because of global warming, there's more plants now available. Amazing. I've never seen so many avocados in my whole life than during these last 2 years. Never seen any more produce. And people say, but are we, losing water and crops, and what's going on? Well, the CO2 makes plants to grow. So we have more plants now. Praise God. Pretty soon, natural disasters may finish that off. But we have the promise. Jesus Christ himself told us, when all these things start happening, natural disasters, diseases, plagues, instead of being afraid, which is going to decrease our immune system activity and our health, instead of being afraid, He said, stand up. Please stand up right now, because we need to stand up. You've been sitting for a while. Stand up and raise your heads. Lift up your heads, because your redemption is here. It's closer. It's getting closer. The promise of recreation. He's going to make us all new. Yes, you can stretch. Stretching is good exercise. So we have here Chef Xavier and Glenda. I'm going to just relinquish my microphone to Xavier. Very good. You can sit down. Yeah, after stretching. Very good. All right.
Okay.
This is his wife, Glenda. She's the assistant today. Very good.
big spoons.
All right, husband and wife, right? That's good. The best team, husband and wife.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Grateful to be here this morning to share some healthy cuisine. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a professional chef. I have worked in hotels and European restaurants half my life. And now I'm entering into a new phase of my life and learning about vegan cooking. And I thank God for that. It's exciting. It's something new. And I don't know, I didn't mention I'm semi-retired, but I'm pursuing a new career. I'm excited. So I brought the ingredients that I'll be working with today, and I'm just going to recite some of the ingredients. I won't give you the procedures of the items that I brought today. Try to make them visible so you have an idea, or you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And I'll continue on with the questions. I'll be making the dough first. So for the filling that will go into the quiche this morning is tofu. And these are the packets of tofu that you will see in Jewel, Tony's, Whole Foods. And you will need to use the firm tofu. This will be placed in a bowl and you will mash it with a fork, gently. So it's not you can even do it with your hands. The spinach, you can also buy in those grocery stores and defrost it one day ahead before you're ready to do the project or make your quiche. The zucchini and the squash, of course, is fresh. And just to give you an idea of how I did it, I took my fresh zucchini and squash and grated it. Once you grate it, you place it in a bowl. Or if you see it's liquidy, you can squeeze some of the liquid out, but it won't release too much liquid. Next will be the dry ingredients. We have the nutritional yeast. This you can find at most health food stores, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's even has it. And the next item will be the chick seasoning, chick style seasoning, also available in these stores. So I brought this because we have it at the clinic where the church that we're at. So they sell this product there. So that's for the filling. The next one will be for the perfect pie crust. And we made the dough ahead of time because we don't want to take too much time. So we used two separate bowls. One bowl, we placed all our dry goods, the wheat flour, the white flour, and the oat flour is a little tricky. The oat flour you will take and measure out oatmeal and put it in your food processor or in your blender and blend it to a fine powder. That's your oatmeal flour that you'll be using for the crust. So you have all the dry ingredients, you add your salt to it, that's in one bowl. Then this is the tricky part. The second bowl you will have, medium-sized bowl, about this size, you will place half a cup of oil and the lutein that you can buy also at Whole Foods or most grocery stores. And this is the important part. Half a cup of the hot water, you have to be sure that it's really hot because this is going to dissolve the flakes here, the granulates. So you whip it with a fork in a bowl and you make sure that it's really blended really well before you even place the liquid into the dry goods. So after you have that mixed really well, I'd say for about 2 minutes, then you slowly add the liquid ingredients into the flours and the salt in that bowl and gently mix it together. Don't overwork it. Don't overdo it because it can get hard. And then once you have it formed, you see that there's no more dry flour inside the bowl. You take and you roll it into a ball. Give me that one. And this is what the dough will look like. Okay. And so I kind of press it before I place it down. Press it flat. Okay. Place it in the center of your board. Now this board is a wooden board, but if you have a nice countertop at home, just make sure you clean it really well and put some plastic on top. Make it really nice. If it's smooth, it'll work even better. I have a nice board that I have. Afterwards, place it down the middle, flatten it down, place another piece of plastic above, and then you roll it out. And you try to roll it out evenly to the diameter of this pan. And it's this size that it'll only work with this type of size here. So you can't get any smaller or any bigger because it won't work. So you kind of roll back and forth, right and left, up and down, until you get it to the size of the pie pan that you'll be using. Now, someone told me that you could use the tin pie pans. I don't know. I have not done it. But I can be a witness to the plastic ones, the old-fashioned ones. They work really well. So this is what it's going to look like after you've rolled it out nice and evenly. To determine if it's even on all the edges, just place your hand over. If you feel a little thicker on one end, just roll it out a little. Don't be afraid to have too much of the dough. Now, the technique of placing the dough into the pan is lifting up the plastic that you put on top to start with. Okay? And then this pan, I took a little bit of oil, just a little bit, spread it all over, place it in the center, make sure that if you don't think that you have enough, okay, well, you can roll it out more. Don't be afraid to put another plastic over again. Roll out a little more. And then, here, I kind of tucked it underneath, so, oh boy. Okay, so now the plastic is free to place it in the center. Place your hand underneath, kind of lift it up, and gently turn it over swiftly. Like so. Lift up the plastic and kind of tuck it into the pie pan. So see, it's a little short here, but that's okay. And my wife has a technique where she can fold the corners up. But that's basically what you want to do, is fold the corners up, just like you're making a pie, apple pie. And voila, we're ready. It's ready for the filling. So next step will be the filling, which we already have measured out, the exact measurements that's shown on the ingredients here on the recipe. I have everything measured out to the exact. So I have my tofu. I'm going to place it in the bowl. Now remember I said you can crush it with your hand, real nice. Next will be the 3 zucchini and squash. So I took 1 zucchini and a half, and I took one squash, yellow squash, 1 and a half, and I grounded them together. And this is where this little gadget I bought that comes in really handy. Or if you have a big one at home, you could use that. That's going to go into the bowl also. The spinach. The frozen spinach, defrosted, squeezed out, excess liquid. That is going to go into the bowl. Okay. And least but not last of the ingredients is the green onion. And then the 1/4 cup of the natural yeast. Measure that out.
Nutritional.
Okay, and then we need the chick flavor that we mentioned, and it's called chick style seasoning, and that's also available in the health food stores or in Whole Foods. Might be a little expensive. It goes a long way. It really does. So that we will need 1/4 of this one. Okay. Have that, and the oil is the last, and that will be 4 Having the right tools really helps a lot. Bring your measuring cups, your spoons. You always have them with you. So now you're going to gently mix everything together. Now, if you feel, you can taste it after you measure it. You won't get sick. Everything's natural, fresh vegetables. Just make sure that you mix it well. And if you feel that, it may be a little bland, you can always add a little touch of sea salt. So, but that's to your preference. Some people do not use salt at all. They can't do it, so, and that's fine. Yeah. So this is what the whole mixture, everything mixed together, what it looks like.
All right.
Now, we will take the amount that we need, and when we place it into the pie shell, we want to make sure you start in the middle and press down firmly. And you want to kind of like bring it all the way to the top. You don't want to overflow it. Make sure it's even. Press down on it, nice and firm. And this is what it should look like when you're ready to go into the oven.
Very good.
Let's see, the directions are there. Place it in a 350-degree oven. Now this is kind of tricky, but you can go with the amount of time that it asks here. And every 15 minutes, open the oven and turn the pan around so it'll cook evenly. So this is the beginning of the raw stages. And then we took and we baked some off because it is a little time consuming to bake it, 55 minutes. So this is what it should look like when it comes out. And it's suggested when you take it out, leave it a little bit at room temperature for about 5 to 10 minutes before you attempt to cut it. So then I will give you an idea of the presentation. Now, this is what the presentation is going to be, but you can be open-minded. Maybe you have a personal preference where you'd like to serve it with a hot vegetable. That's your choice too. But just be sure that you have nice color contrast, that your plate looks attractive when you're placing the food on the plate. I took a simple 3-leaf lettuce, different lettuce, romaine, frisee, and some fresh spinach. Shredded some carrots and some cabbage. We made a simple lemon and olive oil dressing just by whisking it, a little salt and pepper. And you could either serve it like so and take the dressing just a little bit on top, or you can place the lettuce. It depends on the amount that you're going to serve, like for the guest or how many you're going to have. Place it in a large bowl. take the dressing and place it on top and mix it with your hands and just place it on the plate for presentation. But this is what it should look like at the time when you serve it.
Very nice. Very good. We recognize the nutritional value of all these things that were included here. The tofu, that's your egg replacer. If you buy the firm tofu, it's your hard-boiled egg, the white of it, because the yellow of the egg has cholesterol and all the bad things, and people think, okay, the white is good because it has protein. Trouble is that white has protein, but that's animal protein, contains more of certain amino acids that will make your cells, your precancerous cells, and we can have precancerous cells in different tissues at different points in our lives. For example, if you have colon polyps, those are precancerous lesions of your colon. If you have Barrett's esophagus, that's a precancerous lesion of your esophagus. If you have some type of cysts in your liver, some of them may be precancerous. If you have precancerous lesions on your breast or pap smears that are abnormal, you don't want to be feeding those precancerous cells into growing more. Animal protein is the mainstay for those precancerous cells to keep on growing. So you want to regress your precancerous tissue, you want to have less colon polyps, you're going to have less precancerous lesions in the breast, throw away the animal protein. Replace it with vegetable protein. Nutritionally is the same, even better if you eat vegetable protein. Tofu is an excellent means of having a lot of vegetable protein. Tofu also has estrogens, has some hormones, but be careful. Some cancer specialists have read, it contains estrogen, so they prohibit ladies with breast cancer to eating tofu. But they don't say a word about avoiding eggs, dairy. Dairy is made from cows. Cows are ladies. Ladies make estrogen. So cow's milk have estrogens. And the estrogens from cows and chicken are similar chemically to our own estrogens. The estrogens from soy, from plants, have only a little area that are similar, and the whole molecule is not the same.
Thank you. Okay.
They actually do block the sites where estrogens or progesterone will make cancer cells grow in size. Many people that have cancer know if they have estrogen receptors or progesterone receptors.
Should I start cutting now?
Okay. All right. Yeah, you can start cutting. Anyway, make sure that animal estrogens or progesterones are not present in your diet. The best way is to eliminate dairy products and egg products. If you want more information, scientifically based, because you may say, well, this guy he's a vegetarian, he's making propaganda, you can check it out. There's a good site, it's called nutritionfacts.org. Nutritionfacts.org. Dr. Michael Greger, he's from Boston. He's former from Harvard. He has a series of studies that he collects, and he synthesizes on a video. The video lasts 3 or 4 minutes, and he produces a video every day on every subject that is of interest. And doing all these studies, he has fallen into the account that eating a plant-based diet is the best. So he has become a plant eater. He also exercises every day. Some of his videos, he tells the story of what he's talking about, and he's walking on a treadmill at the same time. He's exercising. If we see the videos from Dr. Greger 8 years ago and compare with the ones now, he looks slimmer and trimmer. He looks healthier even though he's 8 years older now. Because what you believe and you practice becomes you. So tofu, right? Tofu, spinach, also high in protein, high in calcium. Not so much calcium as dairy. Yeah, it's true. Dairy has a lot of calcium. The problem with dairy is it has animal protein. And when your body takes animal protein, it stimulates the growth of certain parts, but your kidneys are helping you. Your kidneys and your liver will help you move out this animal protein in the form of urea. So you'll secrete more urea. Trouble is, when you have more urea being secreted from your body, it takes away, urea has two hands. When it comes out in your urine, it likes to be accompanied by a molecule of calcium on each hand. So for every molecule of urea you're peeing, you're also losing 2 molecules of calcium. That's why people with the most ingestion of animal protein have most osteoporosis. Yeah, milk has a lot of calcium, so logic would say if you drink more milk, eat more cheese, your bones will be stronger. Actually, it's the opposite. Countries and societies in which more milk and dairy products are ingested are the ones that have more osteoporosis. If you go to Africa, people don't have osteoporosis. Why? Because they walk, they take heavy loads, they exercise, in other words, they're exposed to the sun, they have vitamin D, and they eat a lot of plant foods, not a lot of animal foods. So spinach, tofu, we have all the calcium we need here. We have all the vegetable protein. Vegetable protein does not make you lose calcium like animal protein. Then you have zucchini, squash, products from the ground, right? Like spinach is also a green leaf that comes from the ground. Then you have this nutritional yeast flakes. Some people go, wait. Yeast may cause some problems, right? Nutritional yeast is the same brewer's yeast that you put in your bread that goes under the process of deactivation with heat. So this yeast will not duplicate in your system. Sure, it has the cellular walls that yeast have, and some people that are allergic to yeast may have allergies to this, so just bear that in mind. Chicken seasoning, you say, okay, that sounds like chemicals. What is that tastes like chicken? Well, it's a little bit of a combination of herbs that will make you get the taste of chicken. It's not actually chicken juice put into this powder. There's no animal products there, okay? Olive oil, we spoke about oil. Be careful with the oil. But as we move into a plant-based diet, olive oil can be used, okay? Half a cup finely sliced green onion. Wow, tremendous. Has a lot of antioxidants there. Some of them will die with the heating process, but the inulin, the fiber contained therein, is going to feed your good bacteria. So this platter will feed our good bacteria. Good. Anything else, Xavier?
If there's any questions you would like to know on the techniques that we used this morning? Yes?
For the oil, can you use vegetable broth or another substitute?
Vegetable? If it's organic, yes.
Can you please repeat the question for the live audience?
Yes. The question was, if we want to avoid the oil, can we use vegetable broth? Ask the lady here. And the answer is yes, you could use, if it's organic, better, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Anybody?
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a question and answer session at the end of the next presentation.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're going to take a sample home from the quiche here. It's going to be on a box back there. You take it out, you eat it in your car, eat it at home, because we're still under the restrictions of COVID, right? You kind of congregate here and eat like we used to do before. Now we have the second recipe, and this is Chef Ramon. And Chef Ramon is great. He's from Mexico. He speaks English, right? Yes. He's our chef. We have two classes in Adelante. Adelante is that center in Berwyn. We have a Spanish class because most of our patients are Hispanic. And Ramon and Noemi is the wife, they do the Spanish class. And they're actually very industrious. They have made this product called chorizo. Chorizo is chorizo, which is sausage, but this is not any animal product. These are all plant-based. These are not, chemicals. These are prepared by them. Chorizo is a word that is a mixture of chorizo delicioso, delicious chorizo. So they make that out, and they're going to demonstrate how they do it. And I understand correctly. ¿Ustedes trajeron también para que la gente consiga? Sí. ¿Sí? Okay, there's a sample that you can take, but they also sell the whole thing. They have brought enough, I hope. So you can buy it. They are actually industrializing this, hopefully in a small scale, but hopefully in a larger scale. So the recipe reads chorizo vegano without cooking and without gluten. Gluten-free, vegan chorizo that you don't need to cook. Just have a good boiler. A good blender, I should say. And you need to boil some hot water, right? But that's the only thing that you cook. Anybody here knows how to boil water? I burned my water the first time I did it. All right, the ingredients is here, 3 ounces of raw sunflower seeds. Raw sunflower seeds. They contain omega-3, they contain fiber, they contain calcium. 3 ounces raw pumpkin seeds. Sounds interesting, right? 2 tablespoons ground flaxseed. This has no peanuts, right? Because we understand this is a peanut-free zone. There's a lot of peanut allergy in kids especially. All right, 2 tablespoons ground flaxseed. Flax seeds are very rich in omega-3. They have good fiber, and they will help you with constipation. Goodbye constipation with this. 2 tablespoons of walnuts that are optional. You can skip the walnuts. 1 medium onion. 5 garlic cloves. Excellent. 1 tablespoon of oregano. 1 tablespoon of sweet paprika. Half a teaspoon of cumin and pepper. And half a teaspoon of cayenne. Cayenne is, some people go, isn't that bad for you? Well, you eat chilies every day, it's not going to help you. What is the problem with chili peppers and hot things, peppers in our intestines? They stimulate the production of mucus from day one, which is good. They increase the blood circulation on day one, which is very good. It will help you with your blood flow, healing ulcers. The problem is you use it on day 2. You won't produce as much mucus as day 1. You use it on day 3. The amount of mucus decreases. By day 7, you have no mucus being produced. You just have the stimulus, the lash on the cells. Produce more mucus, and the cells go, we don't have a way to do it. So eventually, you dry up your mucosa. You end up with more constipation. You end up with irritation of your gastric lining, and the ulcers that you were helping to heal are now coming back. So be careful, okay? These substances are to be used once a week, twice a week at the most. They're helpful, but if you take them to a daily use or an extreme, you are going to have some problems, okay? So this is a special recipe. You're not going to be eating chorizo every day, but twice a week, very good. 1 tablespoon of coriander seed. Half a tablespoon of marjoram. Oh, wow, all these herbs are really good. 1/2 a cup of cooked lentils. Half a cup of brown rice. Brown rice has more fiber than white rice. That's why we prefer brown rice. Some people have trouble chewing brown rice because it's not as soft as the other one. So mix your white rice and your brown rice to get used to this different texture, and slowly increase the amount of brown rice to your white rice until you're comfortable, okay? 2 cups textured soy meat. Textured soy meat, that's sold in different health food stores. Is the soybean mashed and baked, and you just have the textured soy meat. Sometimes this protein from the soy floats in the water, and you can use this foamy protein. You dry it out, and you get your textured soy protein also. The people at McDonald's figured that out more than 30 years ago, and they mixed their hamburger patties with beef, and they put some soy to, well, hopefully it'll be all soy, right? 1/2 pound of gluten-free breadcrumbs or brown rice flour, 4-ounce sun-dried tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of amino acids. Amino acids are, do you have this liquid aminos? Yeah. Liquid aminos are, it's the equivalent of soy sauce, but it has lower sodium than soy sauce. Useful for those people that are limited in their sodium. By the way, a plant-based diet with no processed products is the lowest in sodium. Now, you could add salt, you could add this and that, and you'll be adding your sodium. But if you eat a strict whole foods plant-based diet, that's the lowest sodium. Very useful for people with congestive heart failure that have to take diuretics. Very useful with people with liver disease, that they accumulate water and fluids and they have to take diuretics also. And people with kidney disease. And some folks are prohibited vegetarian diets when they are going in the way of developing kidney disease before they go into dialysis. Less potassium, so they are limited to amounts of vegetables that they eat. Yeah, they usually put on some diuretics that will eliminate potassium. And as soon as they see that the potassium levels are increased, they are put on dialysis. Once they are on dialysis, they can eat well again because the dialysis should excrete the excess potassium. Depends on your dialysis center, right? They have a standard solution. Everyone that comes in, they put the standard solution, they hang it up, works with the machine, people are out in 2-3 hours. If somebody says, wait, I'm a vegetarian now, and I'm going under dialysis, then they scratch their heads. They have to use another solution. So it adds to their work, right? Quote unquote. No, man, okay, so they have to look for another solution, and they have to remember to order that for these 2-3 folks that are eating more vegetarian, and it will wash out your potassium. It will be normal. That's why you get dialysis, to live more normally. But it's easier not to work too much, right? I mean, this is similar in every walk of life. People want to work less. But sometimes you put these guys to work, and in general, people that are vegetarian and are still undergoing dialysis live longer than those that are undergoing dialysis and don't have a vegetarian diet. Most of these folks died of heart disease. Their kidneys do not help them to have good blood flow. So it's a good idea to just talk to people. If somebody has dialysis, just tell your dialysis center you're going vegetarian. They have to adjust to it. Same thing with the coumadin. People that take warfarin are prohibited to eat green vegetables. Oh, they have vitamin K. And you know what? By extension, see how human mind works. Even doctors' minds work this way. Okay, so they think we're thinning your blood with warfarin. Warfarin is antagonist of vitamin K, so that's why we're asking you not to eat foods with vitamin K, like green leaves, because you're going to oppose the effect of the medication we're giving you. So they tell you, limit yourself on consumption of green leaves. No, you can put those guys to work. They don't like to think. You eat your vegetables, you're going to need a little more warfarin. So what? You just need a little more warfarin, and you get all the benefits of the vegetables. All right, so that's one thing. Second thing is how twisted our mind is. Now, some doctors tell normal patients that don't need warfarin, they don't have atrial fibrillation, don't have heart problems. They tell normal patients, oh, don't eat green leaves because they thicken your blood. That's crazy. Actually, they lighten your blood flow. But because they are thinking about the vitamin K, oh, they must thicken your blood, so don't eat vegetables, right? Oh, so you think you produce clots? Okay, no vegetables. Anyway, all right, we're ready. Guajillo chilies, chili pepper, large beet for color, and vegan beef flavor, 2 tablespoons powder or liquid wood smoke.
Vamos a empezar. Buenas tardes.
I'll translate for her, okay? It's good afternoon.
Vamos a empezar haciendo la salsa.
We're going to start making the sauce.
Ajá. Para la salsa se va a poner casi todos los ingredientes menos el arroz,
Soya.
la soya y las semillas.
Okay, we're going to make the sauce first, and we're going to use everything except the rice, the textured soy, and the seeds. All these seeds that we mentioned are all mixed together, right? Están mezcladas. They're all mixed together and blended there. So we're going to use these 3 products at the end.
Okay.
All right?
Sí, porque las quería yo que quedaran no como harina, sino como así.
I just grounded those seeds into that texture. I don't want them to look like flour, very minute amounts. So just that consistency is good.
Vamos a empezar.
So we're going to start now. That's a chile guajillo, right?
Chile guajillo.
That's a species of chile guajillo. They're not too hot, too bad.
No, they are not hot.
Okay, they are actually not hot. Good. Level of temperature 0. Okay.
Esto le da el color.
That gives color to it, and red color is good for prostate prevention, right? Prostate problems prevention. Every man should eat red.
Para el color también le pongo remolacha.
Yeah.
O beet.
Beets are great in iron, great in fiber, great in protecting your prostate gland. Prostate cancer is the #1 cancer in men.
Sí.
What else?
¿Qué más? Los
Sun-dried tomatoes.
sun-dried tomatoes.
And those have more fiber than regular tomatoes because it's concentrated.
Ajá. Sí, estos.
And they have lycopene, which also prevents prostate cancer. So this chorizo is good for men.
Okay.
Very good.
Sun-dried tomatoes. Y ahora todos.
Okay, and the rest of the list that was here.
Los ángulos.
This recipe is going to be available also at the end. So if you don't get what I'm saying or the process, it's all explained here. This garlic?
Un poco de coriander.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's coriander seed. And all the amounts are mentioned in the recipe.
Haciendo una salsita más pequeña que la otra.
Yeah, she's trying to make, she's using less ingredients than to make this one that is mentioned. But
Sí. le agrega al final. Este es un color de achiote que creo que no lo puse en la receta, pero
That's your secret ingredient that is not put here. It's optional. Okay. That adds color. It's from a vegetable. It's a Latin vegetable called achiote.
sí, achiote.
It's not hot either. Annato. A-N-N-A-T-O in English, right? Okay, good.
Oh, ¿cómo se llama este?
That's hickory smoked dried torula yeast. Yeah. That's another yeast powder, inactivated, just to give flavor. And the flavor is hickory smoked, so you feel like you made it, with wood and stuff. Okay. I guess that's a chorizo, right? That's what gives a different flavor, a meaty-like flavor.
El vinagre va a ser por último.
All right, this is apple cider vinegar.
Le vamos a poner de una vez la pimienta,
That's a little pepper. Remember, this is once in a while,
poquito, sí,
and a little bit.
poquito. Si no quiere,
You can skip this if you don't want. That's
Sí,
fine.
si no
Yeah,
quiere,
you get a good flavor anyway.
ajá, y el comino igual.
And the cumin is also optional, but it'll add a good flavor
Si
to
no
it.
quiere, no se la pone. Este es beef flavor.
That's a beef flavor. It's like the chicken style flavor. This is beef flavor. This is also sold in different health food stores. And if you go to Adelante, Adelante is where we have the clinic and the thrift store that you can donate stuff and everything. And you can get also health foods, especially the ones that are difficult to get in other places. We don't sell tofu because, tofu is sold everywhere.
Vamos con el orégano,
That's oregano leaves that are
y
chopped.
no, esta es la mejorana y este es el orégano.
Marjoram and oregano. Okay, all that is on your recipe.
Sí, ahí está.
So you're trying to show us here how they make this salsa. This is healthy salsa, by the way. You can use it every week or so. It's going to activate your circulation, help your
Comino opcional,
cumin.
pero en realidad este es el que le da sabor al chorizo, a todas las.
Cumin is the one that gives the flavor to this chorizo, mostly in the end. So out of all your optionals, this may be the one you want to use, cumin. So you have some boiled water?
No,
No?
yo creo que la traducción es esa.
Let's put it away. Oh, okay.
Le puedo
Okay.
poner cualquier agua
Okay.
y
I can put some water on it. That's not to be boiled. The boiled water was for the guajillos, where the guajillos were.
como, ¿cuánto le voy a poner? Sí, como una media taza.
About half a cup of water, just to help the blending process. Yeah.
Sal.
A little salt. Yeah. You could appreciate, we have different teams. We have a team for the Hispanics, there's more eyeball amounts. Then we have a good team with Xavier. Both are good teams. Okay, so that's salt. Great.
Sal, sí, poquito de sal. Vamos a,
All right, we're ready for some noise now?
déjame ver. Ah, este no lo voy a poner acá. Este es linaza.
That's flaxseed meal. The flaxseed meal, the rice, the texture soy protein, and the seeds that are grounded here are all not used right now. That's a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar. We can. I'm sure we're going to get a ton of questions on apple cider vinegar. Just save it for the end, okay? All right, now we're mixing that all together. All right, so there's a scripture verse that says, do not look at wine when it gets red in the cup, right? It's red, it has good things, but wine has alcohol. It's better to use grape juice, or better yet to use grapes. But this red is not intoxicating. This red contains a lot of carotene and lycopene. Both products are cancer preventing. All right. So that makes a paste actually, right?
Sí,
Yeah,
se hace como una pasta.
yeah. That's thick. All right, so you think that's vegetable, that's part of a whole meal, but the whole meal makes when you combine all these ingredients here. All right, paste. That's your paste, made of all these seasonings, made of all your guajillo chilies and dried tomatoes. Now you're going to put the rice.
El arroz.
That's the brown rice here in the bowl.
Ajá. Más o menos.
Yeah, you're adapting your recipe right now. Okay. Okay, you're just going to make half of the recipe, and this is the texture soy protein that goes there with the rice. Now you have enriched the protein content of that rice by a tenfold by putting the texture soy protein. Now there's some rice flour. Yeah, so now is the wheat. Okay, the flaxseed meal, that can make like rice flour. It's going to glue everything together. That's why you don't use eggs here, because things are going to be sticky anyway with the flaxseed meal. These are the seeds that you made into grounded seeds, so the sunflower, the pumpkin seeds, and the walnuts. They're all mixed together. We're going to put a little more texture soy protein. Okay. And your apple cider vinegar. Okay, all right. All right, so you're watering that thick sauce so it can mix well with your solids there, right? All right. What is that? That's a little more of the grounded seeds, but...
walnut.
Okay, those are the walnut seeds that she had apart. She had to mix those. Because walnut seeds are a little more oily, sticky there, not as dry as the... Then you put your sauce there. You marry the sauce with the solids, and you just mixed well. All right. That looks interesting now. How does it end up looking like? Oh, okay. Now it ends up looking like that chorizo. Ah. Yeah, chorizo is that type of meat that crumbles, when it's eaten for breakfast with different things.
Se deja, después de hacerlo, se deja en el refrigerador por lo menos unas 12 horas para que se mezcle.
Yeah, okay. Once you mix it like this, you want to leave this resting on your refrigerator so it will kind of solidify a little bit, kind of stick together. Right now it's crumbly. Yeah, as you continue mixing until you have this hearty consistency. You could do it with your hand also. Yeah. And you can package it in your saran wrap and make a chorizo looking like, right? Wow. Excellent. Now, chorizo, the real chorizo, is made with meat, ground meat. And it's pork meat, and you don't want to know what parts of the pork they use. It's filling, sure, because of the seasonings they add, it's delicious, sure, but it's not healthy at all. It's actually a killer. It's actually a producer. Meats, red meats, and processed meats are the main cause of gastrointestinal cancer from your mouth to your anus. So that's your chorizo.
¿Les pareció fácil?
Did it look easy to you? Just read the recipe. You're going to get it out there. Prepare the ingredients, mix them up. And the way to eat it now.
Chorizo already.
That's after you bring it from your fridge, right? The chorizo?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
Antes aquí en la receta dice que antes de usarlo para calentarlo, lo sofríe por unos 5 minutos con cebolla y si le quiere agregar chile jalapeño o lo que quiera
Okay,
agregar.
when you get it out of the refrigerator, she's correcting me, you get this and you put it on a pan with a little oil or a little water, and you just soften it up for 5 minutes, right?
No worry.
You add onion, no water, I'm sorry, a little oil and onion.
Ajá.
Right, and you can put some
Sí,
jalapeno.
un poquito de aceite en el
Yeah,
pan.
just a little oil in the pan so it doesn't stick, and then
Sí.
some onions.
Y este es el chorizo ya sofrito.
This is after you pass it through the pan, it's softened and it's
¿Ves?
crumbly,
Ya está
and
cocido.
you can now put it on different,
Ajá, dame todos los ingredientes.
like this
Entonces,
whole wheat tortilla, or you can use Ezekiel 49 tortilla, which is much better. It's made of what is that called, the
ok.
process?
Vamos a ponerle un poquito de frijoles. No es muy gordo, ¿verdad?
All right, then these are beans that you can make into a paste by pressing. And you can put a little more of the rice, and you have a complete
This is
meal. Yeah.
un poquito de guacamole.
All right, some
Aguacate.
avocado made into a paste, guacamole, and some lettuce or cabbage.
Él es el experto en doblar la.
He's the expert tortilla folder. All right.
You fold it like this. And make sure that this is spread out, and then fold it like this. Put your fingers down here. Turn down here, and ready.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
A mí me salen muy gordos.
Okay. Yeah. You have to have special hands for that. Sprouted beans, sprouted grain is the one that Ezekiel 49 product, Ezekiel 49 products are made of. Interesting, right? How one brother believer, Ezekiel 49, hey, maybe that recipe can make a difference in health. There's breads, there's cereals, there's tortillas. Very good. And you can do that. You can get to the internet and look for Ezekiel bread, and you can make it yourself. Ezekiel cereal, you can make it yourself. You have to have time and the apparatus and the equipment, but you can do it. Yes. We're going to transition now back to Anna. Sure, just
Does this work? Okay. So hold on a second. We're going to give you a microphone so everybody can hear the question, especially the people online as well. Yeah. For those who are online, we encourage you to submit your questions on YouTube, and we'll get to them as well.
How much apple cider do you use?
They use 2 tablespoons of apple cider. And the question is, that only? Okay, good.
Anybody else? We encourage you to ask your questions. Yes, in the back.
Dr. Alva, I would like to ask if you have an allergy to soy.
Okay.
What can I use as a substitute?
What can you use as a substitute for soy that has protein and has all the virtues of soy? Hopefully it's an allergy to other beans also, like chickpeas. Chickpeas are excellent replacers for soybeans. You can make cheese, you can make milk, you can make a lot of things exactly, or mung beans, which are from Asia, or actually lentils, or chickpeas as they're being used in industry now. Chickpea protein, pea protein is the #1 component of every vegetable protein product that is out there. It's cheaper, it's faster to grow, faster to produce.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good.
My question about gluten-free products. There are a lot of discussions right now that gluten-free versus just general plant-based diet.
Yes.
Can you comment on it?
Yes, absolutely. We get lots of questions, and we test a lot of people for true gluten allergies and celiac disease. Celiac disease is rare in America, because we have multiplicity of genes in America. In Europe, the Germans are Germans, the Serbians are Serbians, there's more pure races in Europe. So if you have celiac disease in a population, it's estimated that in Europe, about 8% of the population in Europe have celiac disease. What is celiac disease? You eat any product with gluten, and your lymphocytes, your white blood cells in your gut, don't like that gluten. It's you cannot tolerate that. It's a foreign substance. So what you do with that gluten is your lymph against your intestinal cells that have allowed gluten to be admitted into the system. So those white blood cells will destroy your intestinal cells. You'll stop absorbing things like iron that are necessary for blood, so you get anemic. You start not absorbing certain nutrients and you develop diarrhea. So you lose a lot of weight. And because if gluten is continually consumed, you'll produce more of these white blood cells. You're stimulating the production of this clone, of this group of white blood cells that are sensitive to gluten. And they can grow in such a number that you can develop a lymphoma, which is a cancer of your small intestine. So those people cure from their diarrhea and their anemia and their tendency to cancer by eliminating gluten from their diet. It's a lifesaver. Now, there is a big market in Europe for gluten-free products for the reasons I just mentioned. I mean, if 8% of the population is affected, you're going to have an industry producing gluten-free products. Now, if Apple makes a phone in the United States, it wants to export it. Some other countries can benefit from it, right? We need to sell more and more. We're based on an economy here which invests in the stock market, so every year our profits have to increase, correct? So we have gluten-free products. We have factories that make this in Europe. There's a big continent out there. It's called America. There's another big set of populations, China. They can also benefit from this, but how do we... they don't have celiac disease because they have a genetic diversity or they don't have this problem. So it has been discovered also that people can be allergic to gluten. Not celiac disease, but they have allergies to gluten. There's a blood test that you can do for that. Here in America, it's a small proportion of celiac, almost less than 1%, and maybe another 1% of people that have true allergies. So people have gone on gluten-free diets for Crohn's disease, for rheumatoid arthritis, for a number of autoimmune diseases, and they have discovered that they improve. True. It is very true. It's been proven. And the question is why? Wheat is a commodity in the stock exchange, right? Wheat, coffee, most cereals, soy is a commodity. Why? There's so much production of wheat, corn, and soy for animal feed that people that cultivate this want to earn more and more. They're investing in the stock market, so the earnings have to increase every year. So they will use genetically modified grains to increase their production. That makes sense, right? That's not necessarily bad. But they also increase the use of insecticides and herbicides because they want to make sure those crops yield more and more every year. Now, people that are consuming non-organic wheat products, non-organic soy products, you have to be careful with wheat, soy, and corn especially. They have to be organic. They are a bit more expensive, not too much. The most expensive organic things are actually the vegetables and the fruits. But organic wheat is worth it. Ezekiel 49 products or the Silver Hills bakery products, which I don't want to make propaganda, but at the Adelante we sell Silver Hills bread. That's all made from sprouted grains, and you can see them in different markets also. They are like $5 plus. We sell all the Silver Hills products for $5 even. It benefits our center. We could maybe sell it at $4.99 like Whole Foods does, right? They sell $4.99 because they heard that some people sell for $5. So they have decreased the price. But anyway, these products are organic. The grain is organic. It's not contaminated with insecticides or herbicides, which I believe are the ones that affect people with autoimmune diseases. That's why they benefit so much of stopping gluten consuming, and their immune system is not receiving the load of chemicals, herbicides especially, and that's why people are getting better. So there's a big market now for gluten-free products in this country. But you could jump over that by using organic grain products, unless you do have celiac disease, unless you have a true allergy to gluten. Yes?
Thank you. I have two questions, sir.
Sure.
The first one is about the nuts. You said there should be a limit of consuming the nuts.
Yeah.
So is it put together all the nuts, and or every nut we can consume handful? Why is there a limit on it?
Okay. Number one question. Very good. We speak broadly about nuts in the context of our society and our environment. Number one killer disease in this country and all over the world is cardiovascular disease. People that have cholesterol deposits on their arteries clean those arteries on a whole plant-based diet, but unfortunately limiting or eliminating nuts also. Once they have their arteries clean, and it's a process that may take 3 to 5 years, they can start consuming, and that's why we mentioned the amount. The amount is important because nuts are packed with oils, healthy oils, yes. But as you and I know, we can eat a bottle of pistachio nuts or walnuts in a single sitting, especially if we're distracted watching our favorite YouTube or program. We can finish the whole can of good nuts. That's a bit too much. If you add up all the protein and the fats, if you have the time, you look at the ingredients. It says, oh, this only has 5 grams of fat. Yeah, 5 grams of fat per serving. Now, see how many servings has this can. Oops, it has 20. So 5 grams of fat times 20, 100 grams of fat. For every gram of fat, they say, your calories that you obtain from this, 5 grams of fat, your serving is 45 calories. So you go, that's nothing. But if you finish the whole can, 20 servings, you have eaten 900 calories just with those nuts. That's why we say, be careful with the nuts. Just measure them because you can have too much of a good thing. If you're developing metabolic disease, if you have been told you have pre-diabetes, if you have pre-hypertension, in other words, your blood pressure is a little high, not high enough to be treated, if your cholesterol is like 190, 180, that's already going high, so people will tell you, be careful. What does that mean to be careful? Well, especially go to a plant-based diet and be careful with those products that are too rich in calories. Because the average weight in America is over the accepted body mass index. So you have to be careful, as a society, our country weighs a little more than other countries. Yeah. Is that?
And the second question
Yeah,
is
second
about
question, sure.
the oil. I heard that mixing up the oil, like different types of oil, keep them mixed and use it for cooking, they are saying. I don't know what's the benefit of it. Should we do that?
To mix different types of oils? Yeah. I have not heard about that. As a general rule, I have hypertension, I have cholesterol. It's reversed because of the plant-based diet. And unfortunately, I don't use oils. And I have started eating some nuts, but very limited amount. Mixing oils may add an extra flavor. If you're a chef and you're looking for different flavor, you fuse different things. Fusion kitchen is big now. Maybe that's why they do it, and they season their oils now to give them an extra taste. I think that's the reason why they do it. But health benefits, I don't think there are great health benefits on that. Yeah, maybe actually ill effects if you're not careful. Yes, okay, yes.
We were looking at all the wonderful vegetables, and of all of which I love. But if you're dealing with IBS,
yes.
I've heard that you shouldn't just buy any vegetable.
Yes.
That you should stay with GMO. Is this accurate or?
That is accurate. Yeah, actually, the first time that science, quote unquote, delved into nutrition is with this problem of irritable bowel syndrome. Why do I say the first time? Because by and large, science, doctors, I'm a doctor, but I have learned differently. When I was a new doctor, I also tell the patients the same thing that most doctors say. Diet actually doesn't affect your health. Right? I mean, that's what we said before. No, actually it's a main factor for your health. But people say, well, there are no studies showing that, this disease is affected by change of diet. There are lots of studies. They don't teach us that in medical school still. But there's a big revolution that came with Dr. Colin Campbell and this China study And science is now finding a hole where to hide, so to speak. Unless you're honest and you go out and say, well, there's something new to learn, let's put it in practice, let's replicate the study in our patient population, in myself, in my patients, and let's see what happens. And every time it works. So now we know that diet has a lot to do with disease. So irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, is a disease that is very common. It affects lots of people. It doesn't kill anybody, but it makes life miserable. It's actually one of the diseases that cause more discapacity, more days lost of work, because people eat something and they develop cramps and diarrhea. They have to go continually to the bathroom. Or, on the other hand, they cannot move their bowels, and they have these horrible cramps, and they cannot move their bowels. So all this effort is for nothing. So the scientists started saying, well, let's try antibiotics. There's a course of antibiotics that you can take, and people will get better for a week or two or a month. Then they fall back into the problem. So they started saying, maybe we should modify their diet. How about that? So they came up with this diet that is low in some vegetables. They're called oligosaccharides, FODMAP diet. And they realized, wow, people are getting better. If you have the opportunity to watch the documentary film Forks Over Knives, please do it. It's a good use of your time. If you watch it a second and a third time, you'll get more into your gray matter. You try, you see all this and you say, wow, this is easy to do. Let me start trying this out. There's a Dr. Pam Popper that is featured there. She's a naturopathic doctor, but she's a science-based naturopathic doctor. In other words, she follows what is tested and tried, and she has done some trials herself. And she has this diet that I explained to you briefly, that I will try to speak a little more about now. It's called the diet to reformat your gut bacteria. So it's a bacterium reformation diet. You start eating boiled roots and vegetables for 2 weeks as your food for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. That's what you do. You mix all these roots, all these vegetables, you make a big soup, you blend it if you want, and you start introducing, and you can find this online, it's called the IBS diet by Dr. Pam Popper, P-A-M-P-O-P-P-E-R. And she's coming from the angle that the people that are going to read this are omnivorous. In other words, they eat everything. So she goes to this simple thing, simple start. There's no meat here. There's nothing animal. And then she increases that diet, and she mentions at the end that you could eat fish once in a while. You could eat salmon that is baked. So in other words, high water sea fish. But the idea is to feed your good bacteria the little you have still. We all have good bacteria. No matter how much antibiotics we have been given, no matter how much sickness we had, we have to start feeding this good bacteria. It's wonderful. We all have it. And once this good bacteria starts growing in number, then we can increase the foods. Then you have at the end, you eat fruits. You spend like 5-6 weeks without eating fruits. Which, by the way, if you do this diet, it also will revert your diabetes faster. It will make you lose weight faster, safely, than any other diet. It's just a diet that you change your friends here. You take all the bad weeds and you try to cultivate your good bacteria in your bowel.
There's one question online, and then we'll take one more from the audience.
Yes.
Somebody's asking, is organic seaweed healthy, and does it provide omega-3?
Okay, provides omega-3? Yes. Is healthy? So far, yes. It's also growing in this sea water that is high in mercury, petroleum distillates, and there are not a lot of studies measuring the amount of these toxins in seaweed yet, but they are coming because fish eat other fish, they accumulate. By eating other fish, there's a chain of accumulation of toxins in your system. But there are some fish or some animals that eat just seaweed. Now you have to find the amount of mercury in the whale, for example. She eats phytoplankton and seaweed, and figure out if the same amount of petroleum and mercury and lead are present in those animals. So far so good. So far, so good. You can eat that, but some people that don't like fish now and are tasting the seaweed and it tastes about the same. So it's something that we have so many vegetables outside of the water that we can eat those and eat some seaweed once in a while. Yes, so far, so good. Yes, any other questions?
There was one more question. Did here?
No?
I saw somebody's hand. No one?
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. Okay.
Okay, this is the last one because
right.
people are hungry.
Well, I was wondering who is that good-looking guy on the picture there?
Well, it's not good looking. My wife actually has a comment that I look like a little grandpa there, and thank God. I wasn't a grandpa back then, but I'm a grandpa now. Well, thank God that, thank God and the works of my family. Our older son is actually a plant-based nutritionist, and he will counsel people at a distance. He counsels most of our patients that are trying to make the change. He is a good coach. He goes slow. He's very patient. He doesn't come, like, oh, you need to do this, right? Like we doctors do when we're desperate and we see that this patient is killing himself, right? So he has a way of slowly working with patients, and he's also available to our Adelante team there at a distance because he lives in another state. They both have helped my wife and my older son to, kind of move out of being a couch potato, having more weight than I had now, having high cholesterol levels, high blood pressures, and being a more tense and angry and irritated person. So we had to kind of listen to their observations. You don't see how you're acting. Although the people that are closer to you usually know. You're not sleeping, you're reacting too fast, you need to calm down.
Yeah, it's actually was like little a joke before my real question about mask, which is related. It's hard to recognize people right now. What you see on the picture and behind the mask, and the question you mentioned in the beginning of the presentation that you actually got vaccination, so you kind of protected. Did you get vaccinated, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I assumption if you got vaccinated, you are now protected, and mask is not protecting us as much as protecting other people who are around us.
Exactly.
So why would you wear the mask in this case? You don't need a mask following that logic.
Well, some of you may not be vaccinated. Some of you may be genetically prone to have a serious COVID disease. We don't know that.
So it's just like for peace of mind for others, they don't know if you're vaccinated or not. That's why you wear the mask. Is it correct?
That's one thing. The other thing is I work with patients all day long. I work doing colonoscopies and endoscopies. And even though we protect our patients with barriers and we test them for COVID, they may be carrying a COVID virus in their nostrils, not being sick, and just passing it around to other people. That has been proven already. So if they are we are doing an endoscopy, and when you do an endoscopy, there's vapors that are exhaled, and people cough, and sometimes sneeze, and have hiccups. All these things are aerosolized. And even though I'm wearing a mask when I'm doing a procedure, something may land on my skin, or something may land that I carry this on my nostrils. I don't want to give the virus from this person to another one that I don't know if it's going to get terribly sick. That's one thing. The other thing is, I'm a doctor, so I don't want to be, irresponsible. I got sick back in February last year. There was the notice, the news says there's COVID in China, there's something that's going on. We didn't have it here, or at least the news didn't show it. I was never so sick in my life as the first week of February of last year. Had fever, lost my taste, all of that. I didn't know this was COVID. We didn't realize that. My wife saw me on day one, and she said, she's an infectious disease and public health specialist, you may have the flu. I got vaccinated for the flu, but as you know, flu vaccine doesn't offer 100% protection. It's actually 50, 60. So she said, if you have the flu and somebody else picks up the flu from you, you're liable. So what you're going to do is wear a mask, a double mask, an N95 mask, because you don't want to be giving flu to old patients, and especially to our family. And I have to be careful with my wife. She's an infectious disease specialist, and I'm on the other end of the body where things are not clean, right? So I have to especially clean my hands, everything, I have to be especially because I have a good coach there that's going to tell me that something is wrong. So I started wearing this N95 mask when I saw patients. And I understand why some people say, you feel short of breath. I had asthma when I was a kid. The asthma disappeared. I never knew when my asthma disappeared. I must have been 43, 44 years old. I used to have a puffer and a steroid puffer and took some prednisone once in a while. But I became a plant eater for cholesterol and high blood pressure and weight, and that improved. So I was amazed. 6 months, I'm okay. I didn't realize, but years later, I found I haven't used this asthma thing in a long time. And I had an accident on my foot when I was young, and I had toenail fungus, and it disappeared. All are good side effects of a plant-based diet. Your immune system works better, your weight works better, and I got sick anyway because, it's a new virus. So my wife said, you have to use a soft mask just like ones, you guys are using or wearing at home. So I went to bed with a mask on my face. She didn't get the whatever I had, she didn't get. But in retrospect, there was no way of testing if I had it or not. There was no COVID those days. But when the test came around, and I was telling the pastor, we have these blood donation drives at our center to this nonprofit organization that distributes this blood into hospitals. It's a wonderful thing to do. Actually, donating blood has good effects on your blood flow. You say, what? Yeah, it increases the activity of your immune system. If you donate blood every 3-4 months, you do a good thing for other people. It unloads your cholesterol. It unloads your blood pressure. So you're invited May 16, right? May 16, we have a blood drive in our center. So, yeah, you go there, and it's wonderful. So when we donated blood, they tested my antibodies, and they sent me a letter saying, we're going to use your blood to make plasma for people that had COVID. Yeah, I had my vaccine also. My wife and I got vaccinated. She was aware of when were the first vaccines given to medical personnel in our community, and she made me sign up. Actually, she signed in first, and I was dragging my feet. I didn't have time to register. Thank God that we got vaccinated the same day, first dose and then the second dose. So we are protected. I have antibodies against the virus, but I still want to be a responsible person, not to transmit whatever I can have. Not only coronaviruses.
But you cannot transmit.
If I get
after vaccine, you still can transmit.
Yes,
what
yes,
you're saying?
yeah. Because you can acquire the virus for 1 day or 2 in your nostrils. You're never going to get sick because you're protected.
Got you.
But you just talk to somebody and you just get COVID. Thank God the other person is strong or is vaccinated. Or if it's not, then that's a problem. That's a problem. That's why we keep doing it. Thank you.
Can we just have a round of applause for all of our speakers? Dr. Alva and his team, I encourage you guys to visit their center if you're in the area, the Adelante Community Center, where they have specialists there, and they have a thrift store. If you're ever in the area, it's in Berwyn. Now, before we get to the food, you're going to see there's 2 boxes. One says C on it. It's for chorizo, and Q is with the quiche. So grab one of each. We'll have enough for everyone. And just a quick reminder, we will have an event coming up in June. We would love to see you there. It's going to be the food festival. We're doing the 10th annual International Vegetarian Food Festival. It's going to be on a Sunday, June 6th, between 3:30 and 7 p.m. And there's going to be cuisines from all over the world. We have a good selection of booths this year between USA, Chile, Italy, Greece, Mexico, Romania, Kenya, Puerto Rico, and more in the works. So we encourage you to attend. If you would like to, for more information, you can visit our meetup group, meetup.com/ElmhurstSDA, and you'll be updated about the future events. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. And quick reminder, if you want to support Dr. Alva and his team, they've done all of this out of their own, good of heart. We haven't paid them to be here and to prepare all this food. There's a basket at the end if you would like to support their ministry and what they do at the center. Thank you so much.